freelancer. Built for life.
Now, over the last few years, Origin has become more known for looking fast than any sort of actual speed. Take the 300i. A ship that brags about its extra comfy beds isn't exactly what you want when you're looking for a racer. However, all is not lost. Origin has just written us an apology letter. Meet the new M50. Space. The best ships gracefully dance across its expanse. The worst clumsily plod across its face. The new M50 doesn't have time for any of that. Instead, it simply slices its way through. The 2944 M50 was designed with one goal in mind: make the ship that will win the next Murray Cup. The surprising thing is, Origin may have just about done it. The stats are an orgy of mind-bending numbers, but it comes down to two things: less weight and more power. You'll notice that the nose cone has grown what I can only describe as a moustache, added to stabilise all the additional thrust that the retooled and updated twin-hammer HM 4.3 drives spew out. And the refinement doesn't stop there. They've narrowed the front fuselage, moved the wings forward for better balance, shaved the cockpit view pane down to the thinnest it could still be, and not shatter in your face. The result? A pure flying machine. Each movement on the stick translates directly into unadulterated throttle action. Welcome back to the glory days of flying. That's all well and good, but when you're talking about a racing machine, at the end of the day, you really have to, well, race it. And who better to prove the M50's mettle than the last Origin ship to actually manage a cup win, the 350R. Piloting the 350R is Galactic Gear's very own two-time cup holder, Timo Bakshi. Flying the M50, an incredible man who, for some inconceivable reason, has never won a single Murray Cup. Me. This, my friends, is going to be good.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I keep trying to push the limits, but I can't find the limits! Origin, you hear me? Apology accepted! Apology accepted!
Hello once again, I'm Zappernoth for Mog Nation. Welcome to another installment of Star Citizen with Zap and GW. I'm Zap, and here's GW.
How's it going? Good evening.
Hey, how was the Easter weekend?
Good. Lots of family time. Nice and bright and sunny in San Diego. We had spent a lot of time at the beach on actual Easter Sunday. But it was good. It was a good weekend. How about you?
I had a pretty good weekend. I thought maybe you were helping the Easter Bunny with some hard points for those Panthers you have nothing else to do with.
Yeah. Stuffing those under kids' pillows and things.
All right. So, what was your first impression of the rec payout?
Holy crap, where am I going to spend all this?
Well, that's almost what I thought. Holy cow, I won the lottery.
Yeah.
385,000 credits. What am I ever going to do with that?
Yeah, because right now my cumulative, because I had like a few thousand in there, so I'm at 372,000. And I'm just like, what am I going to do with this? At first I was like at 300 and, it was like 60, what was it, 66,000?
Yeah.
And then they were like, congratulations, you also had a month worth of, Centurion subscription, whatever, so here's an extra 11,000. You're like, what?
Right. And then, of course, the second impression was, how do they calculate this? This doesn't look right.
Well, yeah, because me and Thalif were like talking before you hopped in as well, because he was like, oh yeah, mine equated to like 21,000 per. Oh, not Thalif, somebody else. It wasn't. I don't think it was you. Who was it? First person who posted
Well,
it.
there was Kalam.
Anyways, but yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Kalam. Anyway, they were like, oh yeah, it equates to about 21,000. I'm like, well, mine equates to like 27,000, so something's not right.
Yeah. It was weird. And there were two things going on there that I discovered. First off, my email said I was awarded 15 months. But when I went to my actual account, they had awarded 14 months. So, I figured, well, they must have a cutoff somewhere. And that's what Chelsea had finally responded to a forum post saying that the cutoff was February 1st of 2014 forward.
Right.
And
exactly.
that made immediate sense to me because they hadn't taken out my April payment yet. That's like mid-month here. So that made sense immediately. Yep. There was no fractions to it or anything like that. I could calculate it straight up. So that was great. My third impression is, what is this going to do to the balance in Arena Commander for those of us subscribing who have this ton of rec and those who don't? Do you think there's going to be any sort of an impact in Arena Commander?
I don't think so. I mean, you might see a few more Super Hornets flying around because, the people who got this RC are the subscribers, and subscribers have access to the Super Hornet. So there's that. But, I mean, all in all, you'll also have, I don't know if you saw that one link I posted where the guy bought like an ungodly, he got like 170-something thousand credits. He bought like an ungodly amount of Auroras. He just rented them all. So, some people doing that. But, and really that's a good way to test it. Overload the system and see if it works under that kind of a, request. Or, just doing weird weapon combinations and just, being able to experiment with different ships, with different, weapons and shielding. And if anything, that's just going to increase the amount of testing that's able to be done. Whereas people, if they're trying to really earn it, they're going to be a lot more selective as to what they buy, what they're spending their hard-earned credits on, kind of thing. This stuff's free, so I don't mind blowing it, kind of thing.
Well, we do pay our subscription.
Well, yes, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's not something that's a bonus, but this is not something that's earned via the traditional method. So it's you don't feel as bad just being like, I want to try something weird with it,
Right. Okay. Well, I started to break that down a little bit. Yeah, 300,000 rec credits seems like a lot, but then you start looking at the cost of a 7-day rental of a ship, let's say a Hornet or Super Hornet. That's going to be like 11,000 or 16,000.
Yeah, right. 16
rep.
For the Super,
Okay.
right?
And then you'll have to outfit it, of course. So there's that. And that's for 7 days. So, if we're real active in Arena Commander as subscribers, that's eventually going to catch up to us. So we're actually going to have to earn some rec by doing something in Arena Commander to keep going. So it's not going to last forever.
No, not at all.
But yeah, I was quite surprised, and I think that's probably the route I'll take when the inevitable comes up, where people say, well, you've got all this rec. Well, again, it's not going to last forever. It's just going to help loadouts and such. Plus, if we're able to do the multiplayer ships, if we're able to rent those, then that's when other people can take advantage of what we have by helping us crew out those ships.
Right.
Anyway, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else do we have?
One thing we may want to note, because I know there's some discussion in the past, or I don't know if it's still going on, regarding the Aurora and how beefy it was with the latest patch. Well, I don't know if you noticed on the PTU patch notes, they're bringing it down a size. Let me see if I can find that really quick.
Oh man, that was your last bastion for the Panthers.
Yeah, I know, right? Just, load those up. Where was it? I'll find it here.
Yeah, last week I had previewed the Aurora LN, outfitted with 2 Panthers and 2 Badgers, along with a size 3 shield, and it held up really well.
Nice. Okay, here it is, yeah. Star Citizen patch 1.1.1. It's updated weapon hardpoints on Aurora to reflect brochure specs. So 2 size 1s and 2 size 2 guns. No Panthers.
Okay, so they downsized all 4 hardpoints.
They're going to downsize everything.
Yeah, because the front 2, those were size 2, and the wing hardpoints.
The wings are size 3. Yeah.
Now, yeah. So they downsized.
So they're
the entire
downgrading.
thing.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a pretty big nerf.
Yeah. Plus, I didn't know if you'd noticed, the Panthers have a heck of a lot better heat dissipation than the Badgers.
Yeah, that happened a couple of patches ago. I forget which patch it was, but I did notice that like they gave it actually a pretty sizable, the Panthers a pretty sizable boost, and that's why I was like, for a time I was rocking it because I had 6 of them, and they then boosted them up a little bit, so because their weakness used to be that they would overheat like a lot, and it would take a long time for them to cool, and now like you rarely have to worry about it. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. But yeah, I did notice that.
I will be more apt to test out various guns now and just do those kind of tests. How long will it take for an overheat to occur on the Omneski 3s versus the 6s? Go back to the standard laser mark. What is it?
The M4As.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see the heat dissipation there. The Omneskis are awful right now.
Yes. It looks like they also nerfed the Sledge 2s. Oh,
Okay.
not really nerfed. They kind of did a balance. They reduced the rate of fire by half, 125 to 60.
Oh.
And but they increased the power. Oh, see, it's still kind of a nerf because they increased the power and heat per shot to 50. That's actually even. Oh, wow, I just realized that. That's worse.
Yeah.
So they're reducing the rate of fire and they're increasing how much power and heat you're doing per shot, and then it just says adjusted power regen and cooling to 25. I don't know what it used to be, but Sledge 2s are also getting a major nerf. They used to be pretty good. That's gonna really reduce their effectiveness.
Well, they were good, then they were bad, and then they were good again. So
And now they're bad
it's time
again.
to balance again. Balance
Yeah.
it.
Shields on Gladius, that's a boost. It's going from a size 2 to a size 3 max shield.
That needed to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes and no. The Gladius is also, I mean, the maneuverability on that thing is insane.
But
So
it's
that was its
underpowered all
weakness.
the way around.
Yeah.
It is very maneuverable, and it's faster than most ships. But it is way underpowered gun-wise and
It is.
shield-wise.
Yeah.
The missile loadout is about fine. I wouldn't want to.
But, I mean, the same size shield as a Hornet? That just sounds weird to me. I mean, a Super Hornet size 4, I believe.
Well,
but
that
the
would
regular
make
Hornet,
sense, though.
But the Gladius is way older than the Hornet.
Yeah, it's a light fighter, so
But they're
it would
basically
make
just
sense.
trading. Yeah, but they're just trading. One is maneuverable, one has more firepower. Which, that's not really true. The regular Hornet doesn't have that many hard points to start.
Yeah, the regular Hornet and the Super Hornet need to be beefed up on their armament. But I
Yes.
thought the Gladius just needed the shield boost. I'm
I
fine
see
with
what
the
you're saying.
armament the way it is because it's a light fighter. It's not.
Mm.
It's not a Hornet class fighter.
Right.
I think that would balance it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
What else do we have here?
Let's see. For 1.1.1, tweaked Vandal Swarm co-op RC amount per wave. I wonder what that means. Most likely a nerf. I'm sure they don't want that to be your primary way of getting REC.
Per wave?
It just says, yeah, the amount you receive per... I guess it's talking about, like, cumulative. So, I mean, it is per wave, because that's how it calculates how much you get. Like, you'll probably tally up how much damage you did, how many kills you made, that kind of thing, and then once that wave is done, it kind of adds it to your tally. That way, whenever you do die, then it just... I don't know. Maybe it's all background behind-the-scenes stuff.
So that would be public Vandu Swarm?
Yes, because if I recall correctly, private matches do not give REC.
Right. Okay.
You can still maybe like be as a group and then join. Can you do that? I don't. We've never really tried that yet.
Well, that's what threw me there. From what's a wave in a public match? I didn't realize that you could do public Vandu Swarm.
You can. I mean, it's a co-op version. I mean, you don't have to do a private match. You can join just a public match for Vandu co-op.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's something that I'd be more interested in doing. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. I was actually surprised they put it in, but I'm glad they did because, I mean, even they have said this, statistic-wise, the amount of people that play co-op or just regular Vandal Swarm vastly outweighs other more pure forms of, like, PvP and whatnot. By, like, an insane margin. Like, 90% are doing Vandal stuff as opposed to doing racing or, Battle Royale, that kind of thing.
Well, that makes sense. Really, because we're all learning to fly, and that's the same thing you'll see in other games as well. The public PvP matches are always less interesting, I guess, to the populace than PvE as a whole. So,
yeah.
But anyway, I've been jumping in a little bit more, but I only have 20 minutes of Public Arena Commander since they implemented Rec.
Yeah. I'm have like 0. I've been too busy.
I'm ranked 4,626.
Oh snap!
There we go.
Better slow down there.
But even at that, I've been earning 100 rec per minute on average. So,
which is not bad at all. I mean, that's
great.
Gonna add up quick. Which, I mean, they are supposedly kind of bringing that down to down a size with this next patch.
Well, if it's only for Vandu Swarm, that's not so
I don't know. That's right now. That's all the tweaks say on this, unless I'm just not reading the whole end. Added backend support to allow for adjusting REC totals differently for each game mode. Well, that doesn't say anything. That's just backend stuff.
Right.
It doesn't actually say that they're nerfing it. I mean, they did say before that they're gonna have to make some adjustments to it. It's just not really reported on these initial patch notes, which they change a lot once it goes live.
Yeah, and I do like that they are balancing the systems, not only behind the scenes, but also, the ships and the loadouts and such like that. It will continue to happen from now till forever. But every time they do it, it seems like they get a little bit closer to the mark.
Yep, I agree.
Balance one way, balance the other. There have been games that have been published for years now. Take Star Wars: The Old Republic. Again, they're still balancing classes in that, and that's been out.
WoW is still doing that. It's been out since 2004. I mean, it's been out for over a decade.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of you'll never have it fully balanced with an MMO, especially as you continually add content. Every time you add content, you throw off all the balancing you did, and you have to start over. Ooh, here's something I just read on the patch notes. Added a custom keybiting option to allow toggling between lag pips and lead indicators. So if you like those lead indicators before they made the change, you can switch back to that. Yeah. I like the lag pips. I think it's way better. You get to focus more on the ships that you're targeting as opposed to a little dot somewhere that's leading in front of the ship. So I kind of like that more. But hey, at least you have the option now.
Yeah, here's what I guess I would like to see. If you notice that the red always gives me problems, of course, but the red that you get if you've got an incoming heat-seeking missile, that bright red, I can see that just quite well. Same with the targeting if you've got a missile locked on. That red I can see.
So the
What
pretty
I-
saturated ones.
Yeah. What I can't see is the more subtle targeting square around your enemy ship. That's
Wow.
just totally washed out to me and almost appears white. Okay.
Huh.
And then that is worsened as the target flies past me. I cannot
Right.
pick up that arrow
Okay.
quick enough.
That
See,
arrow is really hard. It's even hard for me to see, and I have any remote chance of, color blindness or anything, but I will stumble around trying to find that thing a while, and right now I actually just don't use it anymore. I use my radar.
that's what I'm getting trained to use a bit more. And I keep wanting to try the zoom on it, but I keep forgetting to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
So that might be my answer then.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, it's they also. I mean, I know I don't think you're fully colorblind or anything.
No,
Maybe just,
no,
you know,
just
no.
old eyes.
Okay. But I think it would be nice to implement. I don't know if they've. I think they've talked about this before, but implementing a colorblind option solely because a lot of the stuff they're using right now, I would imagine, is pretty hard for colorblind people to use.
Well, there are bits to the interface. They look like they're going to allow us to color code ourselves. It hasn't been implemented yet, but it is in the manual. So if they take that one step further and just allow us to color code whatever piece of the UI we want, I think that'd be fine at that point.
There you go.
So hopefully, fingers crossed, that's
Yeah.
what they'll do.
Yeah.
Take it easy on the old man.
Oh
Okay.
dear.
What else out of the patch notes there?
I think that was kind of a lot of others. There was just a bunch of random fixes and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of this stuff was just bug fixing too. Oh, hello. I don't know why I didn't think about this. I started from the bottom and been working my way up, which is kind of weird because all the good stuff's on top. But few major things. The Gladiator is flight ready, which is huge. So we'll be able to start flying that in Arena Commander. Curious to see how people are doing with
Is that
right
in
now.
the 1.1a?
Yeah, it's the same thing. 1.1.1 is the same as 1.1.a or whatever they're calling it.
Okay.
It's basically the same thing. But yes, the Gladiator is flight ready, which is going to be awesome. And then one other thing is the multiplayer turret functionality for the Super Hornet, the Gladiator, and the Cutlass, because those are like the quote-unquote single-seater ships that are really more like two-seater ships, because they do have that functionality on them. So this is our first like kind of mini pass on multiplayer or multi-seat functionality, which I think it's nothing more than the second like co-pilot gets to control the turrets. So like on the Super Hornet, if you're in my co-pilot seat, you can control the ball turret, and which is still nice. I mean, that's a great little feature. It is limited to like you can't start in somebody's Super Hornet with him. There's no functionality on the back end server to do that. So you have to actually just go to multiplayer free flight, land. He lands, flies over, kind of like what we've been doing in the past. But then he just hops into your ship with you, gets in the back seat, and then you guys can take off. He can then actually control the turret.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So it would be that might be a fun little thing where we get a couple cutlasses and get a few players and we each hop in and just test out that kind of combat. But that's nice.
Well,
It's a nice stepping stone.
Well, I don't own a Super Hornet now. I don't own a Cutlass. But you
Well,
know what?
plenty
I've got the
to
wreck to do it.
rent Yeah. Yeah. So you're good there. You can rent like 15 of them.
The Gladiator is the only LTI ship I melted.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to fit my playstyle.
So you didn't do any kind of cross chassis upgrade, or did they even offer that?
No, I melted it probably 2
man.
weeks after it got into my hangar. I said, I don't like this ship. I don't know why. It just struck me.
It's that torpedo
Yes.
bomber thing is not really my style either.
Yeah.
You know, to each his own. But that style of combat, I'm just like, I don't. I'll earn one in game just because I want to, but it'll probably be sitting in my hangar for a while.
Yeah, it's not a knock on the ship. It's just it's outside of my game style. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I trashed it, and I used the rec eventually, or not the rec, but the credits eventually towards one of the other concept sales.
Okay.
Plus, I had the Retaliator waiting in the wings, and it finally made it
yes.
to the hangar. And that ship does appeal to me, and the larger bomber does appeal to me. So I guess the torpedo bomber just didn't.
Yeah.
Make
No,
it
the
work.
Retaliator is fantastic. It's not something that I would purchase. I would have no problem earning one in game and just buying it if I get the credits to do so. But it's not really my style. But I am very much looking forward to being a crew on one and helping out in whatever capacity is needed.
Yeah, and I'm hoping there will be like a command and control upgrade for that particular ship. I could be wrong, but it just falls into one of those categories that makes sense.
Gotcha.
I've also no longer have the Constellation.
Yeah, I'm still bitter about that.
Because I knew the Retaliator was going to be there for me. But don't give up on it. You still have yours, right?
I still have my Phoenix, which
Yeah,
I mean, it's getting reworked right now, so I'm gonna wait for that baby to look all pretty.
Exactly. Don't give up on it yet. Let's see what they do here on the rework. I could be impressed. Yeah.
Here's the thing: Chris Roberts loves that ship too much. Like he keeps stressing about how that's supposed to be like the iconic ship of Star Citizen. So
Yeah.
they're gonna make that perfect. not like the best ship there, but he's not gonna rest until it's exactly the way he wants it to be. So I mean, they've redone it twice already. Now they're on their third pass. It's like, how many times are we gonna be redoing this ship?
Yeah, see, the Constellation used to be my package ship. I moved the package
Right.
over to my Freelancer.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is also getting a rework, although I love it as it is. But the Constellation, I agree with you. I think that ship has so much potential, but they really missed the mark, especially with the Phoenix.
Just inside layout. It's just weird. Every time they've been like redoing the internal layout and components of the ship, I'm just like, why did you lay it out this way? It just doesn't make sense to me. And it's like, and you see, like, even back in the day, a year and a half ago, there's like, yeah, in Star Citizen language. I mean, there were threads and people posting all these cool videos and concept pieces and like just ideas about how the ship could be laid out, and they were perfect. They worked functionally so well for like what it's meant to be, and it's just like, do that, But I don't know. It's been interesting to me. So I'm curious to see what they've got in the works right now. But I mean, every single time they've been upping the bar with their ships, with how they're designing them. So, I have full confidence that the next pass will be a good one.
Yeah, for those who don't remember, the Constellation originally had a central cargo hold, and the Merlin was underneath that.
Yeah.
So you'd have to unload the Merlin
It's just
and
so
then
weird.
unload your cargo before
Yeah.
you could actually do anything. And
Well, and they're talking about also being like the like smuggler ship too, if you wanted it to be. Well, you can't do that. You can't dump your cargo. You're gonna dump your
Right.
Merlin first, like out into space, and then dump your cargo.
there he goes.
I
He's
mean,
dumping the Merlin. What's he doing?
Yeah. Like, it just doesn't make any sense,
Yeah.
So I'm glad they adjusted that.
Yeah, they moved the Merlin to the back and made the cargo hold a bit more accessible, which was a step in the right direction. I, again, can't wait to see what they do with the new workover.
Right, and it also increased the cargo size. It like doubled it because
Yeah.
it gave it all that extra room.
But even so, the Merlin was still going to be kind of a difficult thing to get back in.
Oh, like for landing it, getting it kind of
Yeah.
hooked up.
Yeah.
I am sure there will be an automated process, just kind of how like there's an automated landing process right now for the landing pads. I am
Yeah,
sure
but
that
if there's a
same thing will be
manual-
implemented.
If there's a manual option, which would you choose to do?
Oh, manual. Of course. That's just how I roll.
Exactly. I haven't used the auto land yet.
Although
on
I
those
may
pads.
feel differently when my credits are on the line. I'm like, if I ding this thing up, if we're out in the middle of nowhere after a huge battle and all this, and we've survived, and I'm, and I'm coming up, and I, for whatever reason, was flying the Merlin, and I'm coming up to land this thing, if I like screw something up and destroy it because I decided to go, I'm gonna go manual, I'm gonna be so mad at myself. And of course, if anybody is flying my Merlin, you're gonna auto land it. I'm not letting you manual land it.
Yeah, the problem right now is that there is no throttle to 6 degrees of flight. So
Oh my
if you're,
gosh! It's
if you're out there in an M50, watch out, buddy, because all you have to do is tap those controls and you're dropping like a rock. So
oh my gosh, it's insane.
I did
Even
it.
in my Super Hornet, it was
Yeah.
like that.
You can do it, but yeah, you got to be really, really careful.
They need to put it to where when you go into landing mode, they reduce the sensitivity pretty much of everything. They should, especially of your 6 degree, your vertical and your horizontal movements. They just need to reduce the sensitivity down by like, I don't know, 50 to 75%, and that way you can just glide in as opposed to tapping it until you finally slam down on the landing pad.
Yeah, just tie it to the throttle controls, and I think everybody will be fine. Right?
Do that too.
Keep in mind, too, that I was very disappointed in the Mustang Delta, by the way. I got into free flight and landed on the pad and then tried to exit my ship.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and all you do is get stuck in the geometry of the ship. You can't get out!
Yeah.
So the first thing I did after that session was melt it.
Really?
I did. I melted it.
Well,
That was
you're
it.
gonna Fix that.
Gone.
Oh man, they're gonna fix it. And if you like the ship, why would you melt it?
Well,
You got a little melt
there's
happy
plenty
there.
of time. Plenty of time. It's a starter ship, so I'm not too worried about it. But
Well, did you have
Yeah.
LTI on it?
no.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, what in the world?
No, the
Okay,
only-
that's a little bit different.
Yeah, the only LTI ship I've melted is the Gladiator.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
How about the $1 million question?
Yeah.
Where's the first-person shooter?
What first-person shooter? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, is that in the concern thread too?
Yeah, probably.
Oh my gosh.
It's,
All right.
it's so funny. I mean, even in the monthly report, which I fucking just finished reading,
Yeah.
I mean,
Didn't say.
It didn't say, like, they're talking about how they're just still working on it. I'm like, well, this is supposed to be out, like, mid, to end of March, and here it is, we're almost mid-April. And I know they
Now-
said they were delaying it a little bit.
Yeah, you notice that Travis Day has been at Ilphonic for 4 or 5 weeks.
He is kicking them in the rear right now, I guarantee it.
Oh man, yeah, that's the first impression I had. Of course, they
Yeah.
denied it immediately,
Of course he did. Yeah, that
but
was
yeah,
like the first thing they
he's
said.
been there for 5 weeks, I think now.
And I'm sure he's not coming back until that's ready to be released. I guarantee it. Like, until that comes out, he's not moving. Because I'm sure they're under a ton of pressure right now, and I'm guessing that they've just come across some issues with animations, because the animations and things like that we saw in that Ender's Game mode. I just call it
Right.
Ender's Game. I don't know what they're calling it, but that's my name for it because it's blatant ripoff. But I mean, to be honest, I wasn't that impressed with it. I really wasn't. I was very impressed with the other more traditional first-person shooter demo that they showed us a little while back. And even when they did the ZOG, like, on that portion of the map, that was still awesome looking. But I don't know, the Ender's Game one, it didn't feel right. It didn't look right to me. I was just like, well, we'll see. So I think maybe they are just having some issues with that. And so he was just sent out there to get him in line.
Well, yeah, I think this is going to be their next, roadblock or hurdle that they need to get past. The same as they had to get past Arena Commander hurdles as well. They're doing things that is not on the market right now. Okay, has not been on the market. So this is new stuff, and I'm obviously willing to give them the leeway they need to get out there before I get on their tail. But don't say that you're going to roll it out at PAX. If you're not ready to do it. That's the big thing for me.
They're trying to tie it too closely to these, events, and it's just stop it. Don't do it anymore.
Exactly, and they always miss.
Always.
I don't mind that their schedule floats because they have to do something to get it corrected, but to sell tickets to an event and tie a rollout to it is something that I don't like.
It's like that's what you would expect from a publisher. To tie it to big events to maximize sales. And obviously they have to worry about sales in a certain light, but they're doing pretty good, I think, on bringing in the money. And I mean, ultimately, I don't know. I just focus on. Go ahead.
Yeah, they just rolled out the personal port system, which was supposed to be part of the first-person shooter thing. So I just don't think all the technology had lined up the way they needed it to actually present a finished, well, quote unquote, alpha finished product.
Right.
And that's what's delaying them. They did that. They are changing the character models. Okay, all in the same area or the same time frame. They're doing these changes. And it just makes sense to me that he probably just should have said, all right, it'll be another month or two.
Right. Well, and ultimately, I mean, while they're not in charge of people's expectations, they are in charge of helping to manage them and to do whatever they can to minimize the probability of people, assuming more than exactly. And so like some of that does rest on their shoulders. And so when they consistently say, and Chris Roberts is just kind of known for that. He shoots for the stars, and while he'll hit it maybe eventually, he just, he's a very ambitious guy and he loves to throw out dates. He needs to stop doing that. So they just need to learn to manage those expectations to, for what is, reasonable.
Yeah, we've got a huge upswing in new pledges here in the last month and a half or so. So I would like to assure that things will eventually happen. Just hang in there, I guess, for the first-person shooter. And I think that's what they're coming on board for, frankly.
Oh, I agree. And I mean, even in MOG, I know there's probably gonna be a bunch of people that are gonna, give it a try and play because we have a lot of people who love first-person shooters that would love to give this a try. Just why not? So especially if they've already backed it. So it's and I think, and that's also why they're probably making sure that this is as best as it can be, because there's a lot riding on it as well. I mean, there's a lot of, just like with Arena Commander, and they pushed Arena Commander back for how many months? I mean,
8 months.
Yeah,
if anybody's counting.
Yeah, you're not. But so yeah, they pushed that back 8 months because there was a lot riding on it. That was the first time you were going to really play the game, So it's a big deal. Same with the first person. That's a huge aspect of this game that's grown by leaps and bounds since it was first discussed as a feature. Because in the beginning it was just something pretty small and minor. Now it's become a full-blown, selling point for Star Citizen, so they need to make it right. And I get that. Just don't tie it to events.
Now, of course, the lobby system has had its problems in Arena Commander, but Arena Commander itself, since they released it, has been a really good product.
I agree.
I've enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
So, hopefully we'll see the same thing in the first-person shooter. And the lobby system will encompass both, so if they get that fixed, then, gosh, what else can I complain about?
Oh, well, just look in the forums. We'll find something.
All right.
Yeah.
before they disappear.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Why? What's
Yeah.
that?
Well, okay. In 10 for the chairman, one of the questions had to do with the types of activities, industrial activities that would be able to do in the game. There wasn't any real surprise here. You know, he had responded that we wouldn't be able to build ships or that we could own industrial nodes. Didn't really go into any details to what that would entail.
Right.
And, you know, that we could overclock devices, which, you know, each of us as individuals will be tinkering in our...
And that's how I have always come to understand it.
right.
You're not actually crafting components. You can own the factories that do so, and you can customize those, like, you know, tweak them and all that kind of stuff on like your workbench. But actually crafting, I don't know if they've ever like kind of like talked about that or said that it's going to be that traditional. You know.
Right, exactly. And, you know, caught a forum thread then that was posted in general, and the title of it was "Kind of Disappointed in the Lack of Industrial Activities This Game Will Present." And, you know, the guy laid out his information, and, you know, there was banter back and forth, and there was some parallels drawn between crafting in EVE Online and what they thought they needed to do here. And, you know, I responded whenever parallels come up with EVE Online that people may not quite understand, and said, you know, and in EVE, the lore is that, you know, you're flying a battleship in EVE, but there are like thousands of people manning your battleship with you. Okay, and if you put out a player-owned station, which is one of the ways to do manufacturing, there are thousands of people on this station, you know, doing that for you while you're flying around somewhere else in the universe. But here in Star Citizens, it's just you know. So for you in your hangar to try to manufacture a ship would kind of be limited by the death of a spaceman as it kicks in as you die of old age.
Pretty much.
So, you know, it's just a little different lore and surroundings than what EVE has.
Right.
But anyway, you know, it was not a bad thread. But then later on in the dance, I was, well, you know, where'd this go? And come to find out that Borax had moved it.
That mod, I swear. He's a guy who deleted my, well, not deleted, but put it into the nether regions for the Extra Life thread initially. Yeah. And I had to, like, plead to everybody, like, get that back on here. God. Anyways, where'd you put it?
He put it in the concerns thread under game ideas. Okay.
Oh, man,
and
so
then
it's never going to be heard of again.
Well, there were a couple of other responses to it, and, you know, this wasn't a big thread. It went to 4 pages. And then later, another mod, White Magic, closed the thread for not following the concern forum rules regarding polls. So, I couldn't believe it.
Oh my god.
You know, Borax set up the poll when he moved it to the concerns thread.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, then White Magic closed it because it didn't follow the concerns forum rules.
Did it ever get reopened?
No, it's dead. So, you know, I thought I might have to follow this a little bit closer to see what's going on in the forums. I haven't paid close attention.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was hilarious.
God. That's hilarious.
Let me follow that up with another one here. I was seeing if there was any comments about the rec payouts, and there was a thread. Again, it was just people saying, "Hey, how much rec did you get?" Everybody was
right.
Posting their stuff up, and then everybody was, you know, the numbers don't look right.
I know.
just like I was doing. It's just it doesn't look right. So,
Yeah.
so I posted in there too, saying, "All right, well, I think I discovered this, and This is what Chelsea had said from February 1st of 2014 forward, and it looks like any future months that you have unused are also accounted for. And then shortly thereafter, that thread went away. I was going, where did that one go? And then moved it over to the subscribers forum.
Yeah, they're kind of funneling all of that stuff to subscriber.
So I thought that was interesting too.
Oh, that's funny.
One of the other things I know that moggers have been waiting on is there are those out there who do not want to be pilots. Mm-hmm. They want to be second seaters. They want to be in turrets and such. So hopefully this next patch will get some of them back in the game.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the end of this year, I think we're going to really see a big increase in activity for Star Citizen and all that. Just because by then, fingers crossed, my opinion, by then we'll have, obviously, I hope we have by the end of the year, first-person shooter, the social module and multi-crew combat. Everything else, I am of the firm belief that it's going to get delayed. First 10 missions of Squadron 42, I highly, highly doubt we're going to see by end of year. That's just me being either a realist or a pessimist, however you want to, view it.
I still think they're going to make it.
You do?
Chris Roberts is going to spend the next 4 to 6 weeks, I guess, out there directing that, all of the
for all the mocap shoots,
motion capture and such. So, that's part of what his job is, as a director producer from Hollywood. So I think they might make it.
Yeah, I don't know. If they do, I will be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
but
I have been enjoying the new character model that they put in this last time. It's much better than the old one. Still has a ways to go, of course, and we can't customize characters yet, but I guess that's coming soon.
I would assume it would come with... Because here's the thing, with the initial 10 missions of Squadron 42, I would expect that with that we would get our full character customization.
Right.
Because that's the first time that we're going to be creating our character. That's going to be transitioning into the persistent universe. So they need to make sure that that's in there, in my opinion. And it's just as polished as the first 10 missions. Because that, in my opinion, is going to be the first persistent piece that's going to make a lasting impact on the persistent universe for you personally. So, got a lot to go for that.
They're doing character wipes in Landmark now as well at the end of this month. And they're going to be implementing the character creation module. It's been very limited as far as the items that you could select creating a character to date. But the actual character animation is head and shoulders above just about anything else I've seen out there in the game world. They have done such a good job at what you would call heroic movement, standard movement, and just the articulation of all the limbs. So hopefully they'll catch up here in Star Citizen. So there's a ways to go.
And I'm sure they will. And I think we're going to see a big jump from what we see now, and once they get the first-person shooter module out, I think that's going to be. They just haven't really implemented a lot of that stuff yet that they have within that module. So
I did notice some subtle things that they added that kind of surprised me. When we're in free flight mode, if you come up next to something while you're floating 0G, you will reach out. Your character will reach out.
I did notice that, yes.
Touch or grab onto something. So that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. I did notice that. But yeah, well, one thing I definitely think that they're not going to have ready in time is, I remember, I don't know if it was Tony or CR or somebody said that, by summer they're going to have a very limited version of the PU, as in leaving your hangar to go into space, transition from Terra to ArcCorp kind of thing, extreme limited, not even the first initial alpha of the PU. I don't even think they're going to have that ready in the summer. I mean, we're already in April right now, and we still don't have the first-person shooter module, and we still don't have the social module, and we should have had both by now, according to their timeline.
Yeah, social module was
like a
supposed to
month
be
and a
out.
half ago.
I was thinking social module was scheduled for April. This is April.
Yeah.
First person shooter was scheduled for March. This is April.
Yeah.
Just in case anybody forgot.
Yeah. But I think we'll probably get multi-crew, I don't know, September is my guess. And we'll probably get some very, very limited version of the Persistent Universe. It won't even be the alpha. We get the first 5 systems and all that, because they're still working on the first 2. So it's gonna, and these are just like limited things. Like, this is not even talking about all the back end infrastructure, which they're all working on. But that's the biggest thing right there, is all the back end infrastructure to get that actually functional. But I mean, they're just still working on the assets. So we'll probably see something very limited by end of year. And I think we're not going to see Squadron 42 until February, March. But we'll see.
Well, that's not too much of a slip. I guess I wouldn't be too disappointed if it just did that. But I still think, though, it'll be our Christmas present this year.
Hey, I hope you're right. I would love to be wrong.
In New Horizon, I'm Trevor Bask for GSN Murray Cup coverage. Couldn't argue for better conditions to race in, I suppose. Call me on track. I love it.